Great evening, great evening. Welcome to Momentum Chat. I am one of your hosts, Majida Bay.
And my name is John Epstein. We look forward to this talk tonight.
Yeah, we absolutely do. So, hey, listen, if you watching, share this with a friend, like it, take some notes. You definitely want to tune in. We'll be getting started in just a moment. Great evening, great evening. Welcome again to Momentum Chat. I am Majida Bay, joined by my coach, mentor, friend, Mr. John Epting Jr., life and financial strategist. How you doing tonight, John?
I'm doing actually pretty good. Had a good weekend, had a good week. I mean, there was kind of some tough stuff involved too. A friend of ours, family had a loss, so
Oh,
it's
sorry
been
to hear
tough
that.
too. So I had to, didn't have to. I had the affordability, the gift of being able to uh, attend a homegoing. Some people will call those funerals, but we believe when we know where they're going, they just went home. This isn't my home. So,
Gotcha.
but yeah, incredible couple. Had been together 41 years,
Wow.
and the wife went home. So, of course, tough. You know, not fun, but it is part of life. Not fun to experience that stuff. As you know, I've dealt with that quite a bit now. Coming up on 50 years old later this month.
Mm.
So, but still a great week. I still got to see some people I haven't seen in a while and reconnect in that way. Got some text messages from brothers I hadn't talked to in a while, and really cool when somebody just reach out to you and say they miss you, right?
Oh,
Uh,
that's cool.
so yeah, I got to experience that this week. Got back in the gym lightly. Uh, just trying to strengthen my body again after being out of the gym for almost 3 months, 2.5 months. Slowly getting back in there, trying to make sure I don't uh, aggravate something, and still got some procedures coming up. But I'm still excited to be alive, still excited to do what I do and help people and impact people and as well as them impact me. I had a young man impact me in the gym. He was asking me for help and advice, but just talking to him inspired me.
Oh, wow.
It was,
Good stuff.
yeah, young guy. I've known him some time, but we kind of known of each other more than we've known each other.
Knowing each other.
Yeah, he was in some talks I did probably. Well, I don't know. He's now. He told me today he's now 36, and apparently he was 18, 19 when I met him.
Wow.
So I was like, "Good Lord!" I told him, "Man, I'm getting old."
Yeah.
I remember, and he was kind of afraid to ask me to be involved in some groups to help um, some people, but groups he founded and started, um, and hadn't seen me in the gym in a while, so he saw me today, and I guess he got the courage to ask.
Stuff.
And of course, you know me, I'm not going to just say yes. I dig into what's going on, and absolutely want to be involved. Absolutely want to help in any way I can,
Awesome.
based on what he's doing. So absolutely, yeah, no
Good
charge.
stuff.
Just definitely gonna dive in there and hopefully help them, the group, but also I'm probably gonna get a lot of insight myself in dealing with this caliber of people. So apparently all of them are younger than me though. So
That's good stuff. You just seasoned, John. You're seasoned.
yeah. I'm gonna take that. Thank you so much. But forget about
Oh,
me. How are you? How has this week been? How's the daughters going? Don't get into detail, but I know you called my wife. And my wife
yeah.
wouldn't even get into detail, but don't go into detail on this platform. But how's the girls? How's some shifting? I know my wife gave you insight because that's just who she is. How's that been going? How's life going?
It's going well, man. I'm actually excited. I'm energized. I have some things brewing, if you will, and so I'm just excited about what
Nice.
possibilities lie ahead. So
Hmm. Yeah.
um, it's like I get to wake up and like work on my dream, and work
Yeah.
towards uh, a brighter future, and just the possibilities are endless. And
Oh my
so,
God.
like, I'm really, really excited about what's to come and how it's going to challenge me, but also help me to grow.
That's
And
that's awesome.
of course, getting my stripes, if you will, who being a mother. I'm learning. I'm learning.
I wish I could tell you the stripes go away. I wish,
Oh,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
they're just different stripes as they get older, because it's almost like being in a relationship, because it is a relationship. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
each person in a relationship is evolving,
Yes.
and actually that's a good thing, right? Who wants to be in a relationship with the other person isn't changing, especially if you're changing.
Yeah.
But when it comes to parenting, other than scriptures, there's no manual, right? And then many of us don't know how to take scripture and put it in real world form,
Practice.
right?
Yeah.
In our society today, we take scripture and try to make it say what we want it to say, by actually taking it and realizing that it already says something, and we need to get on board with it. So
Yeah.
um, so have fun with that.
Yeah, I am. I'm learning. I'm navigating it, and I definitely appreciate
Nice,
Yabby's insight and
nice.
um
I'm sure she
not
takes it as a huge compliment for you to. I mean, because you got gobs of people you could call.
yeah.
But it's a huge compliment. I don't know how many people you called before you called her, but I know she
just
takes it
just
as a huge
her.
compliment. I know she takes
Just
it as a
her.
huge compliment, and as her husband, I take it as a huge compliment
Have you started your life yet?
that you would reach out to her, um, just in reference to some
I want
parenting
chips.
stuff. And something you said just a minute ago. You get to get up and work on your dream.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the bigger one that you said was you're taking the stripes, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're learning, and that's a lot of people just aren't doing that. They're
Like
trying to
that's
run.
fun to
They're
me.
trying to
It's
run
it's
from.
like
Yeah. So it's fun. It's fun
no,
to
like
do. Don't get me wrong. Some of it sucks. Like taking lashes hurts, right? So I don't want anybody who might watch this or listen to this think we're superhuman or something. Absolutely
nah.
not. But for every scar, I believe comes a reward. Well, you can create a reward out of
Yeah,
every
yeah.
scar. Yeah. For every adversity, there's a seed of benefit equal to or greater than the adversity if you look for it. And
Absolutely.
luckily, you and I both look for it. Like I told a young man this recently. Everything that I go through in my life, I have to make that count. It has to count.
Yeah.
You can't just let it not. Oh, that's just something bad that happened. No, I'm gonna
Nope.
turn that thing around. Of course, with the Lord's help, I'm gonna turn that thing around. Somebody else is gonna benefit from it. Somebody else is gonna at least get my wisdom from going through it. I gotta
Mm-hmm.
make it count. Otherwise, why the heck did I have to go through that?
Yeah.
Right. And I know you kind of think the same way. Like, I'm gonna take these lashes, but it's gonna be some greatness come out of the back end. And
Yeah.
but I'm sure that's not our topic today. So
No, it's not. It's not. But it was something that you said about I think ties into our topic, just in terms
okay.
of like going or taking the lashes, taking the stripes, learning
Mm-hmm.
in the process. I was actually talking to a friend of mine just yesterday, and with the current climate, economy, society, like everything that's going on,
Yeah.
I share with her, like it really feels like it's a test of our faith, right? Like what what will you stand for?
Yes.
And so that being said, right, we're in our ABCs of Wealth series, and
Yeah.
this week we're talking about obedience and opportunity costs.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to tie those two things together, because at least in my journey, I've definitely been connecting the dots spiritually a little bit more over the past year. And so understanding, like, when you align, because I'll say it from this perspective, like, I was always like on tangible, like, what can I do to get the outcome that I want?
Yeah.
And so I was focused on, like, getting the good grades, to get the good job, to get the good salary, to get the house, to get the car, and I was focused on having instead of becoming. And so I went from having to, like, okay, who do I want to become, right? Like, who do I shifted from the physical to the mental. Like, mentally, all right, I need to think differently to get a different outcome, because I got all this stuff, but I'm still not fulfilled. I'm still not satisfied.
Right.
And then, as my mentality was strengthened, I started to realize, okay, there's another step to this. Like, I'm not supposed to do it alone. I have a associate of mine, and part of her mantra is, you can't do it alone. And so I've come to that understanding that, like, you're not supposed to do this alone. Like, and I've heard Eric Thomas say this on various occasions, that, like, if things are difficult or tough, it's because you're trying to do it alone, and the goal is really for you to align with the will of the Father in terms of obedience, right? When you're obedient to his will, then things tend to work out a little bit better. And when I reflect back on my life, I see the evidence of that, right? Like, when I was obedient to my parents, I did what they told me to do. I got good results. I graduated top of my high school class. I got into college. I was able to, get through college. And then when I started making decisions on my own, then I got a little off track. I got detoured. And so the idea of obedience in terms of, well, I want to start off with this question, John.
Yeah.
What would you say an individual should understand at a basic level about money? And I asked that question because when we think about laws, right, we have laws of the road, we have laws of nature, and when you align with those laws, right, you get a good result, right? If you align with the traffic laws, you don't get speeding tickets, you don't get your driver's license suspended. If you align with the laws of nature, you don't jump off of a building. You understand the laws of gravity. So for those that may not understand that there are laws to money, what are some basic laws or a basic level of understanding that an individual should have about money?
It's a very good question. Because when it comes to money, I'm blessed to be able to deal with so many people on different wavelengths of money, from incomes to net worths and things like that. To start off, I would say one of those laws is you can't spend more than you make and expect to get ahead. You have to, spend less than you make. Very simple. And some people think they do that, but they have credit cards, so they don't even realize that they actually spend more than they make, because they put it on credit. And unfortunately, it'd be years down the line before they realize it, before a wake-up call hits. But then our system, we're one of the few countries that actually have a middle class, and it's really because of the credit system. And then because of the system, they can take all that credit that they've built up and then so-called consolidate it, put it in another loan. It may lower the payments, lower the interest maybe a little bit. And now they have one payment instead of 17. But what they don't realize is they can end up right back in the same thing, because you just put it all on one. And now these other credit cards are still there. And you can end up running those up again. And I've actually seen families do this. Like, so this isn't a theory to me. I've actually seen it. And then next thing you know, they're trying to file bankruptcy. All right. After doing that 3 times. I'm literally talking specifically about a specific family. And I've seen that happen. And they're not the only family. I've actually seen that several times, mainly because they didn't want to be obedient to the laws.
Understood.
You know, as you know, one of my wife and I's core values, one of our 6 core values, one of them is obedience. Now ours is scripturally based, but it comes out of James 1 that we are going to obey the law. The scripture actually says, like, rid yourself of foolishness, rid yourself of evil, right? And take hold of the word of God that's been placed in you, right? And then your life will, things will work out. Now, most people think that being obedient, especially scripturally, being obedient means there won't be any tough times. Well, that's not true either.
No, not at all.
In my scriptures, Paul was very obedient. Like, he was obedient, but once he caught it, he was obedient to the point of prison, martyred, death. Right, so it didn't mean he didn't go through tough times. I mean, I was recently reading some stuff that some scriptures Paul wrote, St. Paul, and he was literally writing. Check this out for a second. He was literally writing words of encouragement from prison to warriors that was in the battlefield. I don't know how to do that. Like, I'm in prison. I'm writing words of encouragement to people who are free. And here's the funny thing. He was writing as if he was free, and the people he was sending to were acting like they were in bondage.
Oh, wow.
It's like, what? What are we doing? And I think that was a long time ago. I actually see that today. I see that in 2021. Right? We got free people acting like slaves, or acting like they're being held back in some way. But that obedience thing is a huge thing. So that's just one. You have to, and of course, there's other laws, right? You got to save. You got to invest. You got to get money to work for you. Your money should outpace inflation, minimize taxation. I mean, those are some laws, right? Minimize debt, right? If we're leveraging it in some way, all right, and of course, hopefully you're savvy enough to even understand that, then okay. But if not, let's minimize the amount of debt. Matter of fact, my scriptures actually say to owe no man but to love them. The borrower is slave to the lender. Those are laws, right? And if I'm being obedient to scripture, I should never be in debt. That's, but of course we try to find ways around that. I post some stuff and it'd be biblically sound, and I always get somebody. Let's say I post it and or send it out to friends, right? And out of the 50 friends I might send it to, I always get 3 or 4 that say, but anytime you say the word "but," you just canceled out everything you said prior to. And part of that can be being disobedient in a way too. So yeah, but my wife and I's core value, and now I'm not saying we're perfect at this either. 21 years together, we're still not all the way there, okay? We even say the word "but" to some stuff, but we are more conscious to say, for example, I sent out a video, and it was sent to me, I think, in reference to being able to forgive and forget. And then there's scriptures we can back that up, right? And of course you get people that, and I don't know why people are responding back to me. I don't even have that down yet. Like, forgive and forget, like I don't even have that, right? But they were sitting there back to me, and my wife and I, we literally had a conversation about this. Then we had 2 other couples over our house, and the 3 couples had a conversation about this, like, and we got scripture, we even got stories. We know this is right, but because we're flesh, it's still hard, right? You have people do you wrong, right?
Yep.
So in your obedience, are you, or obedience or disobedience, in your obedience, are you struggling with something? That's one thing. But when you're blatantly disobedient, that's another thing. Does that make sense? Right?
No, it absolutely does.
And they're going to be judged differently too, based on scripture. That's not me. They're going to be judged differently. Somebody who struggled with something and somebody who's just blatantly doing it, right? Both are sins, but they're each going to be judged differently.
No, that makes sense. Because it's like once you are aware, once you have the knowledge,
Absolutely.
once you know better,
There you go.
should do better.
You got
And
it.
so, yeah.
And I believe,
yeah,
I believe the people who are struggling with it over time will get better.
Absolutely.
I mean, when you're conscious. Matter of fact, let's use finances for a second. I have clients who, once they became conscious of their spending habits, it was almost like they automatically got better. Like it wasn't even, I didn't have to say some smooth phrase, or it was like once they got conscious, they automatically got better. Now we put some systems in place to make it even better.
Yeah.
But they automatically got better. The people who never even become aware, it's just like perspectives. It's a bunch of people walking around with their own perspective or their friend's perspective, their circle, and they never get exposed to another perspective.
Right.
But once you're exposed to another perspective, you loosen up on your perspective a little bit, right? Because you just probably never saw it that way. It's like, wow, that's interesting, especially if it's tracking, right? It's like, I know that's happened to me. I've lost track how many times that's happened to me, right? But I'm open. I go seek. I don't even wait for those other perspectives to come to me. I go seek them. That's why sometimes people see me as controversial.
Yeah.
I'm not controversial. I want peace, but just not at the cost of my silence. So I'll go seek it out. But also I love people. So I want to see what they're talking about. I want to see what their side is, right? See if it makes any sense and see if it's theirs. A lot of people are walking around with thoughts and beliefs that's not even theirs. Like they've adopted that from somebody else or the media or their favorite actress or whatever. And how I know that is they can't articulate, right? They definitely don't have any facts. It's mostly feelings. But believe it or not, that's part of building wealth too. If you miss perspectives, and I'm not saying you can't build wealth, but it might be slower. Right? Some of my clients was doing very good before they met me. But guess how much better they're doing with the coach, with another set of eyes, with somebody who has a little bit more knowledge in the industry. Like most of the people I'm talking about, it's certain stuff I brought to their attention they didn't even know existed, and they were doing very good. And I brought things to their attention they didn't even know that existed, and they were so appreciative. Like they sent gifts, and right? You would think they'd be like, "Well, John, I know that some people are like, oh, John's gonna get a commission anyway. I ain't doing no extra from it." I got other people who send gifts, like gifts I'm not supposed to accept, like right. Somebody give you a gift in the financial industry. Somebody give you a gift over a certain dollar amount, you're supposed to send it back, right? But I tell my clients that stuff so they know, and a lot of times they'll just take us out to dinner or something, stuff like that. So
yeah, that's good stuff.
I never want to lose my licenses, so I just make sure that don't do that stuff. But I do appreciate that they appreciate me. I do appreciate that they appreciate the knowledge I've given, and it's so funny that so many of them act like they're disturbing me for some reason. It's like, this is what I do.
Yeah.
Like they're disturbing me. It's like,
well, hey, some financial advisors out there, they may not be as amicable with their clients, so they're on to the next one. They're not,
I'm not them.
They don't understand the relationship. Yeah.
I don't even compete with them. I don't have any competition.
Right.
I'm for those who want me, and the ones that don't want me, I'm not for them. So I don't have any competition. I'm not thinking about what the next guy's doing. I know I stand out, though. I know I stand out. I'm a little different.
Oh, absolutely.
My wife and I laugh about that a lot now because coming up on 21 years in the business. And it's funny how much we're out. Because we live in a decent sized area. It's funny how much we're out and people recognize us. Like it's funny. Okay, so we went to this homegoing, and then afterwards, my wife and I and another couple and a family member went to have lunch. And so I wanted some coffee, so I stopped at my favorite coffee spot. It's literally a gas station. It's a Wawa. So I go in this Wawa, and you know I've talked about this for decades, right? Dress the way you want to be addressed. But because of COVID, I don't wear suits as much. Actually, none of my suits fit. You know, I dropped like 37 pounds. Actually, I'm down like 42 pounds from last year, right? So, so none of my suits fit. But I'm in a suit, you know, they're all getting retailored and stuff like that. So I'm in a suit. Mommy, look at this. And I can't tell you how many times, and this isn't the Wawa I frequent. The Wawa I frequent, everybody knows me in there. Like the new manager. The old manager left, he's a client. He went, you know, helped another store get their numbers up. New manager, within a couple of times seeing each other, he speaks there. You know, everybody in there knows me. I go to a Wawa I don't never go to. I think I've been in this Wawa twice in my life, right? 5, 6 people. Even a Patriot comes in, makes coffee next to me. Hi, how are you today? I'm great. You know, it's kind of weird, right? 2021. Like, man, I'm great. I even told her, I complimented her. Like, man, you got a great smile and you got a great spirit. Man, that doesn't happen often. And she was like, oh, thank you so much. I walk out of the Wawa. 2 ladies in a truck. They roll down there and went, hey, Pastor John. Now, first of all, I'm not a pastor. Right? But this is a running joke people do to me.
Yeah.
Apostle, bishop, right? And some lady sitting in the front seat. I don't even know her. She's chiming in. I'm like, all right, who's the lady in the front seat? Because I don't even know her. Right? Oh, that's my auntie. Oh, okay. Hi, auntie. All right. Don't co-sign the stuff these 2 ladies talk about, right?
No way.
But it's really cool that when you treat people good, people remember you. And now I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember everybody. Right? You know my world. It's a lot of people. Right? I come across a lot of people. So they recognize me, especially they might see me from a stage. So they recognize me, but I don't always recognize them. Right? But I am smart enough, you know, I have some friends who just play it off like they know them. Right? If I don't remember them, I'll say, you know what? I don't remember your name. What's your name? Right? And I notice not many people get offended by that. You know, yeah, because I want to try to remember them, but I do meet a lot of people. Like it gets ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right? But yeah, when you treat people good, right? As you know this in our industry, if you treat people good and you give them value and a level of knowledge, and sometimes I just remember stuff and just shoot texts to clients. Like I had a client that was here last week and he just asked, I guess he had an anniversary coming up and he just wanted some good restaurants to take his wife on their anniversary. So I shot him some good places, at least that I know. And I tried to stay in an area where he's close to. He lives a little bit from us. Stuff like that. And then I text him again today, just asked him, hey, how did anniversary go? You know, congratulations again. And he texted me back, right? Him and I were talking about traveling. I told him about places my wife and I stay when we go to certain areas. And he was appreciative of that. Just be a source for people, but also a person of value to help people in their life.
No, that's true.
And that's been a blessing to me. I know it's been a blessing to you too.
No, absolutely. So let me ask you this, John. How would you say not knowing the rules of money actually hurts people? Right?
Yeah. This is old adage that what you don't know won't hurt you. It actually kills you. It just kills you slowly. It's like having cancer. Right. And I'm one of those weirdos who be like, man, I think knowing you have cancer kills you faster than the cancer. Well, mentally, if you don't think of things like that healthy, yes, that's very true. Right. Like I literally believe the thought of COVID is killing people more than COVID is. It's just my belief. Right. Because most people don't know that when you start worrying, there becomes a chemical imbalance. You start shifting. You start, right? Worry kills people, right? And how do I know that? I've battled depression. I've battled those types of things. So I know. Once you start getting affected by stuff, at least I believe, you start studying it differently, right? So one of the reasons I love being in the gym is it's a level of therapy for me, right? I've been to therapy. That helped tremendously, and I've never badmouth therapy, especially if you got a good Christian counselor who knows the laws of Scripture. I'm not for all that new age stuff, but mine was great, right? Even helped my wife and I in our marriage. My wife has a really good one. My daughter has a good one. So I won't badmouth therapy, but in saying so, also the gym is good therapy for me. My wife working out is good therapy for her. Us running when I could run. Oh my goodness, incredible therapy for us. So many people miss out on those types of things, and they get hurt by their thinking. So when it comes to money, when you don't know the laws of money, it's just like not knowing you have cancer. It just kills you slower. Actually, it might kill you faster, maybe. Depends, right? And unfortunately, when it comes to money, you end up you're 35 now. You'll look up, you'll be 65. And just because you didn't know some stuff, just because you're not at the place you would like to be at 65, because you just didn't know these things at 35. And I can't tell you how many times I've actually heard people say that exact thing. Like, oh my God, I wish I knew this when I was.
Yeah.
I hear that every person. Like, it's not even the wealthy guy says that stuff. Like, oh my God, I could have saved so much money on taxes if I knew blah, blah, blah. Right? The 26-year-old says that. I actually heard a 26-year-old, man, if I knew this when I was 19. And I always think to myself, would you even been mature enough to do anything with in 19? Even me, I've said it. I started learning a lot of the stuff I know today at 29. That's when I started learning. And I thought I made a lot of money when I was 21, 22, 24, 26. Yeah, but was I mature enough to do anything about it? Had I known? I don't know. All right. But it's always cool to say, man, I wish I... Yeah, the things you don't know about finances, about wealth, can hurt you long term. And unfortunately, I've seen that up close and personal. When you don't know the amount of life insurance you should have, your family ends up paying for that. When you don't know, or you don't know the different types, right? So you end up having a type that's not the best for you and your family. And then you look up 30 years from now, how did that affect you? Those types of things. You know what I'm talking about, right? But that's why it's always best to have a coach. You said something in your opening talk. You said somebody in your group always says you can't do it alone. You can't do it alone. You can't do it alone. I've said for years, whatever gift God didn't give you, he placed in somebody near you. But love is the secret key to that treasure. Not only you can't do it alone, you shouldn't do it alone. You should go where you want to go far, go together. So you got to find a good network of people to go together, all right? And then feed off of each other. Each of you have different gifts. Can you love them enough to get the gift? That's what I think.
Sorry, I wanted to type that out and put that in the message. Man, I love that. Whatever gift God didn't give you, he placed in someone near you. And love is the key to unlocking it. I think you said. Let me edit that.
It's okay. Yeah. Love, I always say love is the key to that treasure.
To that treasure.
Because whatever, I don't know if I believe my gifts is treasure.
Mm-hmm.
I guard them. I shine them up. I have a gift of speaking, right? I try to my best to clean it up. I can't speak the way I used to speak, right? So I don't speak today, the way I did 20 years ago when I figured out that was a gift. I had to clean it up.
Mm-hmm.
So I
you can bring it.
Better.
Yeah.
I'm more conscious.
Well, something that you said, I think a week or two ago, that like you were told that you needed to be universally consumable, and you recognize later that like, no, maybe the way you deliver it is the way it's supposed to be received.
Yeah.
So if you go back like 10 years ago and bring that John back, I wouldn't be upset. Rattle a few cages.
Okay, wait. That John 10 years ago was, you could take him, right? And it was the right person for that time. I get all that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm still not universally consumable, but I'm cleaner than that John. That John was, wow. He still got the job done.
Yeah.
And I have quite a few people who respect and love that John. Still call me, still reach out to me and send me gifts, but I'm still supposed to get better, Magina.
Yeah. I mean, I would say you have gotten better, because even I thought about this the other day, or maybe a week or so ago, that we started this over a year ago now. Like we started June, and I know like initially, I remember like the first live stream we did, it was the Couples and Money series.
Yeah.
And you and Yabby were, dressed up nice and clean in your living room, and in your best attire, or your professional attire. And we've seen you on here since then, ball cap, polo. You've relaxed quite a bit, Yeah. So I appreciate the transformation, even just over this past year.
Oh, you like that?
Yeah. I'm pretty informal.
Yeah.
And I like the authenticity, being able to share this type of information, share this knowledge with people. And, you don't have to have on a suit and tie. And I think sometimes people can receive the information a little easier when it's not coming from somebody standing on a stage or a podium dressed up, somebody that.
I'll agree. There's a time and place for everything.
Absolutely.
Even with these Zooms, even some of the speaking engagements, I'm not always in a suit. I'm not always in a sport coat, things like that. So it's not just for this. But I'm also at a place, I was telling one of the associates in our office here that, because sometimes I come in, as you see, I'm in my office. And sometimes I come in like this. Sometimes, this is going to sound weird probably to you. Sometimes I'm literally in some jogging pants, t-shirt, ball cap, because at this point in my career, probably 93% of all of my business that I actually write today come from referrals.
Right.
Also, it doesn't take you very long, especially if I'm in my zone talking about financial stuff. It doesn't take you very long in a conversation with me that you know what I know what I'm talking about. That doesn't take very long at all. Not even 10 minutes. Like, you'll figure it out really fast, unless you're slow, right? And people aren't paying for my dress. They're paying for the knowledge that's in this head. So I'm just at a place now that I don't need to do all that anymore. Now, don't get me wrong. I still do it because there's a place and time for everything.
Yeah.
And I believe it or not, I still like to dress like that. Really, you know why I dress down more now? My wife likes it.
Yeah.
For 20 years, she saw me in suit every day.
Mm-hmm.
So now when I put on a pair, actually, she likes it. But can I be honest, just with our audience, right? Since it's just you and me, I'll tell the truth. Right? I like her reaction to me in jeans. Right? Now, I don't really like wearing jeans, but I like her reaction to me in jeans. Right? Yesterday, I literally had on gray sweatpants, some red tennis shoes, a red shirt, red jacket, right? WFG jacket, right? Ball cap. And we had to go do some stuff for the house. She's got me redecorating the entire house and ordering sofas and whatnot. And kitchens. They just, oh my gosh, right? Curtains and oh my gosh, I forgot how all this stuff goes, right? But when I just threw on some sweats, her reaction, I was like, oh, I gotta do this more. And my wife always gives a great reaction. You know, she picks all of my cologne. I'm not really a cologne guy. She buys them all, but that's one of the reasons I do it. But the other reason is I can relax now. I can my where I am. I don't have to do all that anymore.
Yeah.
Now, if I was meeting a certain, new people, I'm going to do a thing, and actually most of that stuff I'm speaking on, I ask what's the dress code, right? So what are you looking? I ask what they're looking for, especially if you're paying me. What are you looking for, right? Or what type of crowd is it going to be, or that type of stuff, and then I figure it out from there. But no, I do want the people to be able to listen to me. If I'm sitting here in a three-piece suit every day, most people wouldn't catch. It's sad that most people can't catch messages unless it's delivered the way they want to receive it. And what that is a lack of maturity. I was blessed to have the parents I had, but also I served in the United States military. So I've been able to take a message no matter how it's delivered. Right? You've heard me say, I call it eating the meat and spitting out the bone.
Yeah.
I might not like the delivery, but I can still catch the message. Also, I can listen to a fool and still catch a message from them.
Yeah.
I can hear underneath the fool, right? Now, that doesn't mean I respond to the fool. Right? The Bible say don't argue, don't answer the arguments of fools. Don't answer the foolish arguments of fools. Right? But that doesn't mean it might not be a message in there.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Well, let's shift real quick, John. So tying in obedience with opportunity costs. So understanding the laws of money, applying them, and you spoke a little bit about it already. How people say that, man, I wish I had known this when. And so, can you share, how would you first define opportunity cost, right? Because it's a term I'm sure we've heard or gets thrown around. But how would you actually define it?
Success is opportunity plus preparation. That's one of the forms of success. Opportunity plus preparation. Have you been preparing for when an opportunity shows up? There's been many times because of my disobedience, when an opportunity arose, I wasn't ready. So because I didn't, that doesn't work. Okay, I'm working with somebody who needed to work on their credit. Didn't. Opportunity came up, they couldn't be involved. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
absolutely. Saving or investing, right? Opportunity came about because you didn't save. Hey, that happened to me too. Oh my God, right? When the opportunity came about, this was a real estate deal, right? I wasn't able to take advantage the way I wanted to. Right now, thank God I know how to negotiate. I can still take advantage. But I couldn't take advantage. I like the number that was given, I couldn't take advantage. But I was able to negotiate, and because of relationships, I'll still be able to be involved. Right? But all because I didn't invest and save the way I needed to, or I should have. And what I mean in that particular sense for us is we couldn't touch other stuff to take advantage of this. Sometimes that's irresponsible. Right, certain investments you have to look at them as I can lose it all, right? And those are opportunity costs. So it's the cost of not having. It's the cost of missing out on opportunity. What does that cost you? And sometimes it costs you millions, and sometimes it's a few $100. All right, but I don't like to lose no money. I don't like to lose $10.
Yeah.
Call me cheap.
No,
My
that's
wife-
good. And
my wife joked me. No, this was yesterday. No, take that back. It was Sunday. It was Sunday because we drove by a specific grocery store and I knew they had a certain thing that was on sale that went off sale that day. And she just reached her hand across the car and hit the back of my head because she knows I like that, right? Hit the back of my head and she says, "You're so cute." I said, "What are you talking about?" She says, "It's just funny how you just know where the sales are for the things we like and the things." I said, "Well, it's my responsibility to make sure my family's fed." Right? I don't even like losing that. Right now, it was just groceries. But I knew that these particular things were on sale that day, right? Save us $1.50 a piece. Opportunity cost to me.
Yeah.
To me. Now that's on the small scale. That's kind of a stupid scale, but that comes from me being the oldest of 9 children, watching how my mom did things, right? And I've said before, if you get too caught up in this, with the stuff I just talked about, it can also hurt you.
Yeah.
Right. While you focus on saving $1.50, right, you might be missing out on making millions just because of the mindset itself.
Because it does take like mental bandwidth,
Yep.
So
Effort.
making decisions about one thing versus another. So I'm definitely on the opposite end of that spectrum. I don't invest enough time in saving on the little things.
Good.
But I love something that you said, and I don't know if you meant it, but like this is what I pulled from it when you talked about being able to negotiate. What I actually took from that message was you invested in relationships. You added value, what you spoke about earlier, and that's actually of greater value than the money, right? We've talked on here before how like money's not the thing, right? Money's the low-hanging fruit. And so if you the opportunity cost of relationships, if you invest in relationships, if you make deposits into relationships, then you can make withdrawals where financially the scale might be unbalanced, but when it comes to the relationship, you've poured in and valued and invested in the relationship to where they don't mind, negotiating a financial deal. So
absolutely,
that's another.
And I'm gonna be honest, I didn't, you know me, I don't think of it that way, but it's turned out that way, right?
Yeah.
Mine comes from just having a servant's heart. Like I understand as a leader, I'm chief servant. So I'm supposed to just serve, whether it's a return or not. Secondly, I learned quite some time ago now, well over a decade, maybe close to 2, that the most important things in my life isn't money, isn't fame, isn't a notoriety. The most important thing in my life is my relationship with Christ and my relationship with other people. Now, of course, I'm not saying that it's not certain relationships I have to distance and I have to cut off, unfortunately. But that's the most important thing in my life. Now, yes, it's turned around to a point that even when I didn't prepare properly, that I can throw out because of my relationship, I can throw out an alternative to the investment presented. Right. And it, I call it negotiate. And it's funny, I know people who were offered the same investment, didn't have it, but didn't have the relationship. So I guess I got a deal that others just couldn't get. But it was because of relationship. But it didn't start that way. It just started me just wanting to serve the people involved as a true friend. Just, be there for them, be there in different capacities. No, I'm not gonna lie. Living life the way I live, it's actually a lot of weight.
Mm.
Unfortunately. It's a lot of weight, but it's a lot of reward too, right? So because I'm trustworthy, especially men, they know whatever they tell me is going to stay with me. Sometimes that becomes heavy. So they end up sharing things with me that I end up having to carry, but the Lord helps me with that, right? As long as I take it to Him, He helps me with that. But there's certain traumas that guys are going through that even though I've been healed from certain traumas, it triggers. It could end up becoming a trigger, right? But that's just the price of having good relationships, I believe. I don't know if I would change it though. And thank God I have the wife I have who helps me even notice that. Sometimes I don't even notice. I don't even notice that what that guy's going through, and he's pouring it on me because he needs help. I don't even realize that certain things are triggering.
Mm. No, that's good. No, I love.
As you know,
Say again.
I married a rock star, as you know. So.
Yeah. No, I love the idea of relationships being currency, and so um there is opportunity there. We've spoken before about how your associations influence who you become and what you do and what you have. And so that's an even, I believe, greater opportunity that some people miss out on. They don't value their relationships enough. And so when they are looking to level up, or when they are looking to, get to a different level, they don't have the network around them. We talked about it last week. Your network determines your net worth. If you don't have the network around you, you're not going to be able to grow and expand the way that you want. So you have to invest in those relationships to take advantage of certain opportunities as well. Because you can't do it alone.
You can't do it alone. You know what? I'm glad you keep saying that because it's resonating in my heart. I have a huge problem of asking for help that I need to get delivered from because I'm realizing I have a lot of people who just want to do for me.
Yeah.
And I don't, it's a problem. Maybe I need to get back in therapy. Let me call Mr. Kevin. As you keep saying it, because you said it in kind of like your opening when we were just catching up. And I live by that. You can't do it alone, right?
That includes you.
Oh,
you can't do it alone, right? Like you take that mindset or mentality with other people, but I definitely can. That resonates with me too, because I can relate to that. Like you do so much for others that you don't do for yourself, or you're not willing to, or you don't know how to ask for help. But I'm definitely getting into a season, where it's like
I need to get better at that because it's funny because this has been a problem for me for a long, long time, right? And my mom used to say, "I'm hindering others' blessings," and it stays with me. So I try to open up and allow people to like buy lunch for me or or stuff like that, right? And then my wife does too. My wife helps me with that, but I notice if they're not around, I don't ask. I'll let. I'm better at that. I will say I'm better at that. But I don't ask. Like I don't ask for help in things. Right. I noticed I ask for help for other people. Like somebody called me and they needed they needed some help in some real estate stuff. You know about this particular thing, right? And finding a place and stuff like that. I use my resources for other people, but I don't use them for me.
For yourself, yep.
Yeah, I send people. I got my mortgage guy helping two people with deals right now. I got my friend that's in real estate investment helping somebody with a property. I got stuff happening right now, but I never reach out for me. Funny story. So this brings it up. So I hadn't talked to my dad in a while. So I get a text that my dad wants to send me a gift for my birthday. My birthday's coming up. And so I send back a text like, I don't really need a gift. I don't really need anything, right? But what I would like to hear his voice, right? So I get to hear his voice. He calls. All right. So we talk, and he's like, yeah, So I thank him, of course, for the gift too, because I still got the gift. And but it was funny before I got the gift. Before I did any of that, my wife was like, "Well, we can get the gift too. You can get the gift too." And I was like, "I don't need the gift. I just want to hear his voice. I want to know he's okay. I want to." That type of stuff, right? She's
Yeah.
like, oh, you're hindering his blessing. But I would have been perfectly fine with no gift. I don't know if it's a maturity. I don't know what it is. But it's like, I'm getting ready to be 50 years old. I don't need no gift from my.
It's not your
Sending
love
me nothing.
language. It's
Huh?
not your love language. It's not your love language.
No, it's not my level.
Nah.
I don't need gifts. I know it frustrates my wife. I got to work on that too, because it even frustrates my wife and daughter. Father's Day, my birthday. What do you want? What do you want to do? And my answer is always just hang out with you guys. Can I get a day that my 16-year-old just hangs with me? Right? And she's like, Dad, that's so easy. I'm like, you say it's
Quality
easy,
time.
right?
Yeah.
You say, and believe it or not, quality time is not my love language, but that's all I want to do. My favorite pastime is to go to a movie with my wife. Not even go to a movie. Do a movie at our home. We don't need to go nowhere. Although she wants to go see this 007 movie. Right? In my world, people call me the Black 007s. I take that as a compliment, but the old 007 was kind of a whoremonger, so a womanizer, if you will. So I've never been that. But anyway, the other things is probably good about me, right? But that's the type of stuff I want to do, right? But I tell that story, I have a hard time asking for. I even have a hard time asking for help, not just for stuff. I just have a hard time asking for help. I'll do it. All right. Actually, I have a very good friend that we've kind of reconnected that has helped me with that, because he's helped me tremendously over the last couple of weeks with things in the house. Because he's amazing at that stuff, and I'm kind of far removed. I used to do it, being the oldest of 9 kids, but I just haven't done that stuff in a long time. And he's helped me with it, but I've actually asked for help with that. Like, hey, bro, I need help with it, and he's so willing. I'm on my way over. So it was really fun. But I would agree with you that relationships are currency, but I think the currency is more valuable when you don't even look at it that way.
No, absolutely.
Like, you don't go into a relationship, or you don't do things in the relationship because you're like building up currency. Never did that.
I don't think I do it intentionally, but I do try to
I don't think you
add more value than the people around me.
I do. I know.
I try to outvalue, you are it's like I heard ET say this, and then at the conference we were at a couple weeks ago, him and Anthony Flynn talked about that, how they have a competition about who can give more to the other. And it's kind of fun, when you have those type of relationships where I'm going to add more value to you. No, I'm going to add more value to you, and it's important to know that the people around you are adding value to you. I think that's really the key in that message. You should be making more deposits than withdrawals into your relationships. And
absolutely. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That was good. You should be making more deposits than you are making withdrawals. Absolutely.
Yeah.
My wife and I, and then we can end with this, because I know we're almost at time. My wife and I, years ago, and actually we didn't make this up on our own. We learned it from another couple, that every morning, right? Because subconsciously, she get out that side of the bed, I get out that side of the bed, and we're both going, I'm going to outserve her today. Right? She's on the other side, I'm going to blow his mind today. He has no idea what. Can you imagine if a marriage or relationship, that each partner in that relationship woke up every day thinking, I'm going to outserve him.
Yep.
She doesn't know what's gonna hit her. Oh my gosh. She's gonna feel so loved and so appreciated today. It's actually a fun thing. My wife and I have done that off and on for the 20 years we've been married. Of course, there's been some challenges, been some ups and downs, been some major things that we've had to deal with. But I think that's one of those things that kept us at least heading in the right track. Of course, or at least heading in the right direction. Let's say it that way. We've had to make some course corrections, right? Sometimes the waves were just so strong that tossed our boat a little bit. But we were able to get back on.
Let's get short. Let's get short.
Okay, we'll charge it.
So that goes serving each other.
Absolutely. Well, man, John, this is a fun conversation. Hopefully those that have been listening got some value out of the topic on obedience and opportunity cost. And take this information, apply it to your life. And hey, if you could benefit from getting some help financially or getting some direction or strategies, hey, reach out to John or myself. Yes. And we'll be glad to sit down with you and help you figure out where you are and where you want to be and what you need to do to get there. So, hey, join us next week. We'll be continuing this series. Okay, all right. Give me a minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. Count to 10. Count to 10.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
That's awesome. Okay, we gotta go ahead and dance.
Yeah, right. Oh, she's still counting. She went past 10. Well, hey,
guys. Well, good to be able to talk with everyone today. Hopefully, you got some value out of our talk. And Vegeta, thank you for always being the most incredible host and also a great friend.
Thank you, John. I appreciate that.
Evo.
Have a great night. We'll see y'all next week.
Watch Evo.
See y'all next week.